Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you midday. I want to take just a brief moment to sort of point out something that has been revealed over the weekend, and I want to use it as a teaching moment on a number of different principles and ideas. And I want you to take it how you take it, uh, take what you want out of it, whatever. But I want you to kind of pay attention to this in essence of understanding what we do. There's a game came out, I don't know exactly when, but I saw it being played over Facebook over the weekend. I guess it's called anonymously or something like that, where you can opt in to play, but when you opt in, the people on your friends list can send you a message via this app or this game and tell you what they think about you, say what they want to say about you, and if they can do it either by revealing themselves and being open, or they can do it anonymously and you won't know who did it. Now, the thing is, when you're in social media, natural human proclivities, natural human behavior is simply magnified and facilitated. What do I mean by that? In real life, before we ever had social media, there were people in your circle who didn't like you. They were there to be as close to you as possible, to learn what they could about you, to do whatever they could to upset what you were working for, or at the very least, they were hoping and wishing for your demise, and they wanted to be as close as possible to experience it if it happened. And that's always been there. You've always had enemies in the camp. Jesus had enemies in the camp, and you can look around you. Almost every person who had any particular stature or position in history had someone who portrayed them very close to them. So this is nothing new. So that's a dynamic that's always in play. The difference is most of the time you don't know it. Most of the times you can fool yourself and make yourself for people like myself who have 5,000 friends on your personal profile, or have thousands of people or likes on whatever profile, Facebook, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, whatever, you got all that, right? So you can trick yourself into a hyper validation of who you are by looking at how many friends you got, but see, they're not your friends. You have very few true friends in this world. Most people around you have an ulterior motive outside of being mutually beneficial to you. And so that's the first thing you got. But the thing that got me is that social media has us so amped up to seek validation externally. We need the likes, we need the shares, we need the big ups, we want the comments, because we've trained ourselves to validate ourselves and count and measure our value based on how many likes we get. So we've convinced ourselves, because how we got so many people on our friends list, we got so many people following our content. We never give consideration to the fact that there are people out there that are on our friends list that absolutely hate us. There are people on our friends list that are literally every day waking up with so much vitriol and hatred and animosity towards us that they are wishing and hoping for our demise. And in this, what blew my mind about what I saw was how many people invited the enemy into the gates. And I'm not speaking from a religious perspective, but I'm using some dialogue and a vernacular that most people understand. God designed the world in a specific way. And one of the things that when God designed the world was he gave words power. He designed our brain to respond to the words we hear, the words we speak. Our faith is built by words. The book of Proverbs tells us that the power of life and death is in the tongue. And you don't realize, to people who understand spirituality, whether you understand it from a religious perspective, whether you understand it from an individual experience or whatever, people who understand spirituality understand that you can literally step in alignment with energy that is not meant to help you. And you can agree on it. When you sit up and you agree for people that you don't know, or you don't know their motives, when you agreed to allow them to speak into your life, you touched and agreed with them. So when they spoke, you had already validated what they spoke because you invited them in. It's like asking somebody what they think about you, or asking somebody what they think about what you're doing or how you're doing in life. The moment you ask, you have passed on power to them to speak into your life. The moment you invite somebody in and give them the mic of your life, you have invited them in and given what they speak power in your life. Now, I saw a lot of people trying to play it off like it didn't bother them. But see, if you're at a place where words don't bother you, you don't invite the words in the first place. You don't play the game. Because see, you can go into it and say it's about fun. And for some people, I'm pretty sure, it's fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. You got to understand the power of propaganda. You got to understand the mechanisms involved with conditioning. You have to understand that the power of your cell phone, before we even get to social media, the power of the cell phone itself. The cell phone is designed to literally release doses of dopamine, the feel-good chemical in your brain. It's literally coming from the reward center of the brain. So pleasure and reward center of the brain. And every time you pick that phone up, that's why you can't put it down. It's literally designed to tantalizate the pleasure and reward center of the brain. Then you go deeper into it and you get on social media. And on social media, you're now trying to judge where you're at based on what people do as far as whether they like your post, whether they say this about you, how you feel about this. And you don't understand the impact it's having on your brain. You don't understand that every time you look at social media and you see something, it's having an impact. And if you don't take the necessary steps you need to take to be in control. See, you can still be in an environment, but you got to be in control. The moment that these people that played this game said, you can come in and anonymously tell me what you think about me, you touched and agreed with what they spoke into your life, whether you like it or not. Why is it that we need such validation that we're asking people we don't even know to tell us what they think about us? Why is it that it's important? My thing is, I don't care what you think, so I never ask. And I'm damn sure not going to invite you in and let you tell me what you think when you've been sitting there for the last 3 years on my friends list hating the hell out of me. We are more worried about what people on social media think about us than we're worried about what our family thinks, how our family feels, what our family's going through. We spend more time communicating with people on these social media platforms than we do our family. We've gotten so caught up into something that can be so powerful that we've shifted our own power out of our control into the hands of people we don't even know. Words have power. Be careful of who you let speak into your life. You don't realize what you did when you sit up on something like that and it requires your permission to let someone speak. It's way more powerful if they just show up in your inbox. It's way more powerful than if they just post it on a comment in one of your posts. When you sit up and give permission for somebody to speak into your life, you transferred your power to them. You touched and agreed with them. You opened the door for them to speak into your life and move in your life. Now, doesn't mean that you can't change it, but why would you open yourself up to that? What is it that you need to have somebody speak into your life that you can, of yourself, execute your own power given to you by God to speak and declare in your life? He said, when you declare a thing, it shall be established. And you are letting someone else declare. And you wonder why you don't have any control. You're letting somebody else establish your thinking, establishing your beliefs based on how you feel. You can sit up and pretend and you can write what you want. But we can look at it, we can see, we know it hurt. Some of the stuff that people were saying about other people, and these are people on your friends list. If it did anything for me, it validated something I already knew. 90% of the people that follow me don't give a crap about who I am, don't care. A lot of them are out there trying to find a way to make somebody as miserable as they are. Social media can be a powerful resource to market your business, to stay in contact with friends, to share your philosophies. But when you start to confuse social media with social engagement in its truest form, where you can literally feel the energy of the people you're communicating with because you're in proximity, you open yourself up for things that you're not prepared to battle. See, the people who are prepared to battle this kind of thing aren't out asking for opinions, aren't out asking for input. They know who they are. They know what God designed them to be. They know where their power lies. We've got to look out. I mean, I read where some woman had a woman on her post with this darn game describing the inside of her house to a T, talking about what she did in that house with her man, her husband, not her boyfriend, her husband. Now, some people say, well, at least the husband got outed and exposed. And that will happen. But see, the whole thing is when you're in alignment with the divine, the spiritual, the God, I mean, the God of the universe, when you're in alignment with God, you don't need anybody to tell you what's going on. There's absolutely nothing you need to know that God won't reveal to you. Absolutely nothing. I'm not talking religiously. I'm talking God has the ability to communicate with you. And when you open up and connect, you will get the communication in powerful, emphatic ways that will leave no doubt. Call it intuition, call it discernment, call it what you want to, but you get the community. You don't need somebody to come on publicly and out you in front of the entire darn social media platform. And that was one of the light things that I saw. I mean, people ripping into people. And a lot of them got in their feelings and responded back. Don't not realizing when you, the moment that you got in your feelings and you responded back to that person, they knew they had you. You done given all your power to them now. If it didn't do anything, what it did is it revealed just where we're at as a culture, how we're defining ourselves and why we're struggling and why we're suffering. When a person doesn't know who they are, almost anybody has a shot at defining them. And when your identity is defined by someone that you don't know, that does not care for you, it can send you on a wild, spiraling odyssey of destruction. You know, it ain't my job to judge anybody. It's not my job to judge anybody. It's a full-time job to keep myself balanced and try to grow myself and try to be instrumental in doing what I need to do. It's a full-time job. So it's never about me judging anybody, but what it is about is me being honest about what I see. I can't tell you you're a bad person because I don't have that. I can tell you that some of the things you're doing aren't making sense and some of the things you're doing are bad. But I've done bad things. I've made poor decisions. So I look at everybody in a sense of that's not your best self. You need to find your best self. You need to explore the options that are available to you based on your potential. And the thing is the actualizing of the potential. I mean, it just totally blew me away. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. Uh, it's understand. The one thing that you won't see a lot of, I've done it maybe twice that I can remember, is playing these little games that you don't know what the outcome going to be, so you just want to see. This was the ultimate one, though. This one allowed people to define it instead of algorithms. You were getting real live comments from people instead of an algorithm just looking at what you post on your page and coming up with a result of the answer to the question. That's all it is these games have algorithms. This game had people. And that's something I don't get into a lot. Because you got to understand, the moment that you sit up and you want to see what something says about you, you've given it power. Depending on you, I mean, it can be a little power, it can be a lot of power, it can be fun. And most of it, you look at it, no big deal, it's fun. You just sit up and say, yeah, I can see this. I don't know about that. And you keep going. Okay. But in a time where people are struggling to stand up and be what the God designed them to be, is this the time to be trusting algorithms? Is it the time to be trusting the opinions of the random opinions of minimal-minded people? People who don't like you, people who are wishing for your demise? Is this the time to be seeking approbation and approval from people who don't like you, or people you don't know have your best interest at heart? Is this really the time? At a time more than any time in the history of this world where we need to know who we are, is this the time to be seeking that answer from people we don't know? First of all, we need to come to an understanding of who we are. We need to come to an understanding of what we stand for, why we're here, what my purpose is, what my assignment is. How am I going to impact this world? How am I going to leave a legacy that speaks for me long after I'm gone? How am I going to move beyond the superficial plays of what this social media and this social society is trying to push upon me? How am I going to be so emphatic in my existence that I'm able to influence my children to live a life above average? Stop inviting the enemy in. Stop. You have enough negative energy you've got to fight off every day to be inviting more negative energy in. I'm going to end it there. I'm not going to push on. I just looked at it and I'm like, people are actually playing this. And I don't know if some people didn't realize what was going to happen. When I first saw it, I'm like, I ain't playing that. Not that, and it's not because I'm worried about what people say. It's that if I'm not worried about people say, why would I ask them? Why would I invite that in? Why would I create something I know that I have to mentally, emotionally, and psychologically and spiritually fight off? Why would I invite it in? That's not a good job of guarding my gates. For my people who are Christian, spiritual, and know something about the Bible, let me take you to something. I'm gonna leave you with this. The power of thought, the power of thoughts, the power of mind, the power of words, and everything else. Paul says that though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds. Get rid of the religiosity here. I want to focus solely on the principle of power and how we engage the world, the enemy, and God. It says, for though we walk in the flesh, meaning that we have physical bodies, but it goes way deeper than that. Our wars are not physical and carnal or fleshly. Our wars are mighty, and the ability to fight the war is mighty. How do we fight it? Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. But it doesn't stop there. Saying bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. So let's look at that. Every thought into captivity, meaning that I monitor every thought that I think. If it's a thought that does not serve my purpose, I immediately counter it with a thought that does. I'm sitting up and I'm arresting ideas. I'm arresting verbiage. I'm arresting statements that people are speaking about me and to me. Why would I invite more stuff to fight when I can sit up and see just being alive and trying to make something happen in this world draws negativity to you to stop you? Why am I going to invite more of it in? You can sit up and pretend that it doesn't bother you, but here's the thing, here's the truth. that experience has simply taught me. The moment that you get to a point where something doesn't bother you, you don't engage it. The very fact that you engage it means that there's something inside of you that needs to know. Now, you can pretend to other people and say to other people, but the mind knows, and the mind is what's making the decision. Why are you feeding your subconscious that negativity? Why are you putting your spirit under such heavy overload to fight battles you don't need to fight? You got enough on your table trying to be what you were designed to be, instead of sitting up trying to invite the negativity in and put it on your platform, so now you've got to fight it. Look, I'm going to get out of here. I just sit up and I thought about it. First, I wasn't going to even write anything. So I saw something somebody posted and I shared it. Sorry about that. I shared it and I thought, but then I really started thinking about it. Man, not only are these people inviting the enemy in, they're getting in their feelings about it. Here's the craziest part. To me, somebody else, it may be another, but the craziest part to me is, after all that, after you've done this and you've invited the enemy in, the enemy that came and tore you a new one, and you don't know who it is. Woo! Now, you got to battle that every day until you get rid of it some kind of way. You got to wake up every morning, wonder who that person is, and how can you figure it out? And they're right there. They're right there. Now, don't get me wrong, they're right there anyway, but you've invited them into a position to where they can influence how you see yourself, how you think. Now, you're giving energy to knowing who it is. That energy is better served putting in work. That energy is better served blessing somebody. That energy is better served speaking power to truth. That energy is better served speaking and edifying other people. That energy is better served than doing something as asinine as sitting up trying to worry about who the enemy is, because you didn't ask them to speak up anonymously. See, at least if I sit up there and I know I got 5,000 people, anywhere from 498, 499. I'm always running somebody else. So every few days, somebody else gets to come on and see how long they're going to last, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But you sitting up there and you know there's some people in there, right? You know, okay, cool. But what, you're going to sit up there. Now, at least if they come post on my page or send something in my inbox, I know who they are. And if nothing else, I can completely exit them out of my space. I don't have to respond to them. I don't have to do anything. I am going to rebuke. I'm going to arrest. I'm going to bring into captivity anything that speaks or moves or adds energy against what I'm doing, and I'm going to cast it down. I'm going to rebut it. I'm going to move it out of the way, and then I'm going to be done with it. And the one way I'm going to be done with it is you can't come on my page. Now, if you're there hiding or whatever, I got a barrier up for you anyway. And I'm waiting on you to be bold enough to come at me. It's been people that I knew. And eventually, my presence simply ran them off. I knew they were there, but my presence ran them off. I never gave them power. I sit there and took theirs. Don't play a game you can't win. And don't invite the enemy in. With that being said, I'm going to get off of here because I could talk about this all day. We have got to do better. On that note, I'm out of here.